everyone, good morning. This is another morning coffee video with me, Jamila Jasper, as we wait and count down for the release of my Patreon chapters. This is the only week where I'll be going live at 6 a.m. just to count down to the Powerless release and sort of as a way of creating some content about it, talking with you about it, and this being a somewhat good time for me to film, except today when I seriously questioned my judgment about even waking up at all. So hello, here I am, and if you're able to join me today live, that's great, and if not, it's totally cool if you watch this video afterwards. This is just kind of a good time for me to film this week, something I'm testing out, and there are going to be 2 live streams on the weekend at 11 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday. So the first thing I wanted to give you today was the list of topics that I'm going to cover in this video, and unfortunately my cat looks like she may be coming to knock down literally every single one of my studio lights, so I am deeply concerned. If you see me acting strange, it's because she is literally about to knock down one of my studio lights. Hello Haiti D73, oh god, she's moving the camera. Okay, so my cat is walking in front of the camera, and that's fine, and I'm pushing her butt gently out of the way. So the topics that we're going to cover today are my work in progress update, the current completed series, the Amalfi Coast Brotherhood that I have, the next Mafia. Oh boy. Okay, she just fell. So my cat fell off my desk, but she's fine. She's walking away. Hello to manateejules.pk. Thank you for watching. So the next Mafia romance release I'm going to be talking about, which is Long Island Executioner, then answering questions from my story that I posted yesterday. So if you posted a question in my stories and I saw it this morning, then I'm going to get to it in this video. Then I wanted to give you 2 reminders, and then that's pretty much it for the video. Around 6:15 when the next chapter drops, I'm just going to stop, pause for a little bit, and talk about today's chapter of Powerless 2. But aside from these little notes of what you're going to find in the video and what's coming next, I don't have too much else to say, so I'm just going to get right into the content part of the video. And again, there's no need to watch these live this week, but it's cool if you come. It's super early, but I'm doing it at this time just because this is when my chapters release on Patreon, and I want to spread awareness that the chapters come out at 6:15 a.m. every day. So here I am spreading awareness. Let's talk about my work in progress. So before this happened, I've had a super productive morning. I am an extreme early bird. I wake up before the sun. I say that it is my farmer DNA, but no, my parents are not farmers, so I don't know what's going on with that. But I have written a chapter of Powerless this morning, and I also finished going through the dirty contract for just a final read through, and I've definitely found some things that I need to change, including some mild plot holes. So if you're watching this and you're an advanced reader, anything you find where you're like, this is a plot hole, because it'll be obvious when you see it, that is going to be in the final version completely fixed, but I just don't really have the time to fix the advanced review version. So as always, there are always changes between the ARC and the final, and that's definitely going to be the case with the dirty contract based on my proofing today. Okay, so I mentioned on my story yesterday that I finished Long Island Executioner, and I don't really take breaks between one book and the next, especially with a series where basically they do kind of flow into one another, although I do try and have kind of betas and readers let me know whether they really can be read as standalones or if it's absolutely necessary to read the previous books. So these flow into each other, but I think you can read them apart. So I'm starting Long Island Butcher, which is John and Alexis's story. And so I'm going to give you a little background on that, but I will probably have to hop on here and talk about it again several times in the future just so everyone knows. John is the leader of the Vicari family in the Long Island series for the time being, and at some point in the series that may change. I don't want to spoil too much. And in his romance, his story is with Alexis, who is a college student at Columbia University, and she is African American. So when it comes to the appearance of both of those characters, John will definitely be described in book 1, Long Island Executioner, so you can get a little hint of John's character and what sort of person he is. I think he's really most similar I would say, to Stavros from any of my previous Mafia series, and Stavros is the male main character in Purchased for Submission. But John is very brooding, very controlling, and he's just a character that I really enjoyed writing in book one, and I can't wait for him to have his own book. So I'm really happy to get into Long Island Butcher and writing that today. Hi, Beatrice, beautifully blessed. Thank you for joining this morning. It's a quiet live stream today, so I'm just happy for anyone who's stopping in to take a look. So basically, the other stories that I've talked about yesterday, which are Adrian Scorpion King and Long Island Executioner, are both in editing. So if you are specifically a patron, this is going to become really relevant to you soon, because once these books are in editing, or once I'm kind of at the end of the story, that's kind of a big hint to the patron that you're going to be getting a lot of good stuff that is not going to be published for weeks and weeks. So you're definitely going to be getting that first preview of all of those books. So that is my work in progress update for today, and we are very close to the next chapter of Powerless dropping this morning. I wanted to talk, since we were on the topic of dark mafia romance and what was coming next, I did want to talk about, I'm rearranging books here, I did want to talk about my current, most recent completed series, and this is the most current completed series. I hope I can get a good thumbnail out of this. I don't really, my face looks funny in the thumbnail sometimes. So this series is just complete. As of September, what month again? Yeah, as of September 15th, yeah, this series is complete. So there are 3 books. It's a trilogy. It is, there is a connection between this trilogy and the Greek Mafia Brotherhood. There's also a connection between this trilogy and the future series, but the series are independent of each other. This whole series talks about the Ducas family, who are the Italian cousins of the Pagonis brothers from the Greek Mafia Brotherhood. And in this book, they are all 3 brothers, but in the Long Island books, not all 3 main characters would be brothers. So to talk a little more about these books, I just wanted to go through for each one the couples, the premise, some tropes, so you know, okay, like, what am I getting into here? And then my personal favorite part of the book as a writer. So this may be hard to do on the spot for some of them, because it's kind of hard to choose my favorite parts sometimes, but I hope that I can get through that, and you can watch this video whenever and let me know what your favorite book was, if you read the series, which book you're most interested in if you haven't read the series, and maybe what mafia region you would like me to write about next in the comments. Anything like that would be very helpful. So if you have a comment, want to leave a comment, these are some questions to consider. You can answer one, you can answer all. I'd just be happy if you get a conversation going and we can talk about the book some more. So the first one is Forced Surrogate, which has, I would say, the most I think it has the most controversial title. I recommend getting into the book, because if I spoil the title for you by explaining it, you're going to lose a lot of the experience. So allow yourself to be troubled deeply by the title and read inside to see if I'm as messed up as you think. Probably not. So I think if you like dark romance, this one is the least dark in the series, in my opinion. Honestly, despite the title, I think it's medium dark, I would say. The couple in this story are Van and Jody. So Giovanni and Jody. Jody is an American escaping a specific something, which you'll get into in the book, by going to live, honestly, escape life completely on the Amalfi Coast in Italy. One night she goes out with some new friends, something goes wrong, and the next thing she knows, she is in the clutches of Giovanni Ducas, and what he wants more than anything is a woman to immediately have his baby, because he has a deadline, again, will be explained in the book, and he needs a baby, and she is actually not the woman he specifically wanted, but she is the woman he has. And so if this has maybe intrigued you enough, consider checking it out. Hi, Leah's Mom 03. Thank you for joining. I'm just talking right now about the 3 books in my latest series, and hopefully you can stick around for that and enjoy that. And if not, just getting into the rest of the topics after the video is done, maybe you might like that too. So thanks for joining, because I've been talking a while, so I don't want to drop you in the middle here. So basically, Forced to Marry is I'm moving my camera so much so you can see it. Okay, Forced to Marry is the second book in the series, and I would say this is the darkest one in the series, in my opinion. I'm not fully sure if that's true. I might change my mind, but I think this is the darkest one. And you know what? I completely forgot to say for this one, the tropes and my favorite part. Okay, we're gonna circle back. So the tropes in this book: dark enemies to lovers. There's definitely kidnapping. He's a pretty dominant alpha, and of course, there's going to be a lot of like baby talk because this is a surrogacy book. So if that type of thing troubles you, you might not like it. But if those tropes sound like great and hot to you, you will like this. And my favorite part of this book is actually when Jodie wakes up for the first time and realizes who has kidnapped her. So if again that sounds interesting, check it out. Let's get to the next one. So I already said that I thought this one was the darkest one. The couple in this story are Grace and Lorenzo, who I call Enzo throughout the story. I know that I've seen a lot of, since I published this book or while I was working on it, I stuck my head up for air and I was like, hey, a lot of Swirl authors have been using the character name Enzo. I think it's partly because of Vampire Diaries. That was why I picked the character name. I don't know if everyone else is getting it from the same place or what, but yeah, I know that a lot of us have characters named Enzo. So Enzo and Grace are the main ones in this book, and the premise of this book: Enzo falls in love with one of his tenants who is currently dating another man who is of Albanian descent, and she is keeping him a secret in her apartment, which she is renting from Enzo. Enzo, as you know from the title saying mafia romance, is in the mob in Italy, and he will go to very great lengths to get the woman that he wants, and he will possibly stoop to murder. So if you are curious about a very dark romance for a man who will literally break the law to get the woman he wants, you may enjoy this story. The tropes in this book are definitely dark. I would say a little bit of enemies to lovers, and I would say it's a medium. I don't know. No, it's not. It's not a medium burn. I would say it's somewhere between medium and insta love. So it's not quite insta love, but it's not quite they're in a relationship. I would say these two have a lot of chemistry. They have a more emotionally forbidden relationship. And this is a book with an older woman and a younger man couple. She's not like 20 years older than him or anything. She is a few years older than him. So if you're interested in those types of books, this will get you and get you where you need to go. And my favorite part of this book is the bathtub scene. So this was a scene I wrote in collaboration with like my followers here, patrons. I was putting little polls everywhere and we came together and I gave you the bathtub scene. I hope that if you read this book, that's at least one of your favorite parts because I did this all for you. So that is the basic summary of Forced to Marry. And again, all these books are free in Kindle Unlimited. You can get the paperbacks, you can get the hardcovers, and they're not currently on ebook, but I hope that they can be soon. Hi, Kira the Great. Thanks for joining this morning. So we have 2 minutes until the Patreon chapter comes out, and it's going to be another chapter of Powerless. But before we get into that, I'm going to finish up this, and then we'll talk about Powerless really quickly when the chapter drops. So the final book in the series, Forced to Submit, I would say has currently the most mixed reviews. And I'm not surprised because a lot of people don't like how age gappy some of my age gap romances are. And I get it. I'm not gonna explain. I'm not gonna like justify. I think just if you don't like it, then that's fine. So the couple in this book are Matteo and Zara. Zara is his son's ex-girlfriend at the beginning of the book, and she has gone through a lot of trauma. Matteo himself has kind of had a past of constant trauma, and he's running away from his problems and his family and his responsibilities to his family in Albania. So I think a lot of this book I like to do with the younger woman, older man books. I think I like to make them have a more extreme age gap because I like to like emphasize a lot how her youth like awakens the hidden youth within him. And that's kind of why I I think I write them very dramatically different. Like, he definitely sounds like an adult, and she at times sounds like an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old, and she has that immaturity. And that's just because younger people are a lot of the time not as mature as older people. Not all the time, but that's often the case. I would say, again, this book is pretty dark in terms of the age gap part of things. I think in terms of how they get together, everything about this book is pretty dark. I knew I was going to change my mind. This is the darkest one in the series. I now that I'm thinking about it, this is actually the darkest one. And the premise is essentially Zara is forced to be with Matteo for the purpose of he's trying to protect her and find out everything that happened to her in her past, and specifically to find out what his son did to her during their relationship. So as they get together in that palace, they basically don't interact and touch each other for a long time, but I don't necessarily show all the empty space between them getting together and their relationship like starting to become sexual, let's say. But it's because I thought that part was not the most interesting part, and I just wrote the parts that I thought were most interesting. So if you were curious about that, now you know. The tropes for this story, I mentioned age gap, dark, a little bit of an enemies to lovers vibe, although not completely. I would say that Zara and Matteo are both very stubborn. So if you kind of like banter between two stubborn characters and like an alpha, but like a mischievous woman, Zara is very mischievous and she has that like she's always up to something energy, then you like this book. My favorite part of this book is actually the epilogue, because I just kind of like the dynamic of Zara's always getting into some crazy mess and Matteo's like, oh my god, why do I love her so much? I'm just gonna deal with it. And so that was kind of the dynamic I wanted to leave them with, and I feel like the epilogue in this book is funny and sweet. And after all of the dark mess that I wrote in this whole series, I wanted this one to have a very happy ending, so I hope that was the case. So basically, this is the series. These are the 3 books. This is my latest completed series, and you can find the link in my bio to get all of them. You can search for them on Amazon, and they're also available in the 3 versions I told you: ebook, paperback, hardcover. So now that we're here, it is officially time to check on the Patreon. So I have a new chapter of Powerless out right now, and if my internet works, which it did not earlier when I was testing this out, there we go. So we have the latest chapter, Powerless 2, Showing My Love, with Clover and Thomas. This chapter is from Clover's perspective, and this is, oh my god, y'all, this is, I hope I don't get like the video cut off or something, but this is the blowjob chapter, y'all. This is the blowjob chapter. The whole chapter is a very long blowjob scene. I am just saying this on camera, and I'm just gonna be okay with it. I should have probably abbreviated that to BJ, but we are live, and so here we are. So that is the whole scene. It's from Clover's perspective. We are getting closer to the big moment between Clover and Thomas. If you want to read the chapter, this is season 2, chapter 28. The first season has 60 odd chapters, and the second we're at 28 now. If you want to subscribe and get into the daily chapter releases, they are out Monday through Friday at 6:15 a.m. And today's chapter is really good. So if you are on the fence and you're like, well, I don't know if it's going to be steamy enough, sign up for today, give it a read. And if you want to cancel your subscription, you can cancel at any time. I will not be offended. I love and appreciate my patrons, but at the end of the day, like, I'm not in your wallet, I'm not in your bank account. You can decide what to spend your money on, and I won't take it like, oh, you don't like my work anymore, it's not good enough. We all got stuff going on. I would appreciate if you checked out the Patreon, and part of why I am getting on video to even talk about it so much is because I think a lot of binge readers will like it. I am not someone who posts occasionally on my Patreon and charges a lot for like 1 or 2 chapters a week. There's going to be a post pretty much every day. And if I don't post every day, I either feel really bad about it or I let you know. So that's the type of stuff going on behind the scenes. And that's kind of my motivation for making the videos this week, just to get more awareness about Patreon. So, and the cereal. most importantly. I'm really excited about these scenes in Powerless, so it's fun to get on here and make myself say appropriate words in front of strangers. That is something I like. So thank you for listening to my Patreon spiel. I'm not going to end the video right away. Hi, Thrift Tell Repeat. Thanks for joining this morning. I am going to talk about the next Mafia romance release. So yesterday I talked more about The Dirty Contract. Today I gave you the whole rundown of my just completed series. So let's talk for a little while about the next Mafia romance series. So the couple in the next series are Luca Lucky Vicari and Althea Little, and they have a daughter. Hi. So basically, let's talk a little bit about where these characters came from. So the three main guys in this series, I named them all after famous gangsters. So Lucky Luciano, John Gotti, and Sammy Gravano were kind of like my three main name inspirations. Just because we were going to Long Island, I got super into researching New York and everything that went on there in the past, and so I wanted to just give a namesake to each one of a famous gangster. So hopefully that doesn't like affect my life negatively at all. So the basic story is similar. Again, I said this before, to Pretty Little Monster, where Alpha has a somewhat negative encounter with Lucky that ends with her having a child, but based on how it all happened, she doesn't tell him about the child. I think if you read the story, you'll see that it's justified. I really don't like when secret baby romances make absolutely zero sense. So I try to put like a helping of sense. I don't know if they fully make sense, but I try to put a dash of common sense in the book. So in the future, we kind of have to jump ahead a bit, and Althea has her daughter, who is named Kiara. And Kiara is an athletic girl. I won't spoil what sport yet, but I kind of wanted to make her a really different character from any of the little black kids I've written in the, or the mixed kids, the black kids that I've written into the book. So I kind of did something outside of the box with her character, and I hope that it reads well and it comes across okay. I think because I've been living in central New York recently, I've certain things have just been on my mind. So hopefully that makes sense when you read the book. So write down this prophecy. You don't have to write it down. It's a joke. So basically, the tropes in this book: dark, second chance, secret baby, erotic romance. Secret baby, the secret baby thing is not like the main factor in the plot. So if you find secret baby romance is annoying, which a lot of people, I keep saying it again because a lot of people message me and they're like, I hate secret baby. I don't like it. Or they will say about Pretty Little Monster, they liked how I did the secret baby thing there. So I'm like, okay, well that works. So I guess if you just make it make sense, that'll work. So I hope that, that connects with readers when they check out this book. So I also want to talk about some notes on this release because I kind of gave you a few of the details. And by the way, you can pre-order this already. So I had patrons vote and submit character names at some point a couple months ago, and I literally wrote it all down on a sheet of paper, on a Post-it note, actually on 3 Post-it notes, which I lost 2 of and then found them again and then rewrote on a sheet of paper all the character names that my subscribers gave and on Patreon and who gave each one. So in this book, if you're noticing that I submitted this name and she's using it, I'm going to be writing the shout outs and the little dedication to everyone who submitted names for this book. So a lot of the names in this series and in this specific book were chosen by Patreon subscribers. So just something else to note. The upcoming book is also medium dark. So medium dark. That's like, it's the medium rare of dark romance, I would say. So it's not as dark as Forced to Submit or Purchased for Seduction, but it's not a light and fluffy, goofy rom-com type of book. I would say because of the encounter between Lucky and Alpha, there's a lot of like deep emotions, sensuality, and chemistry, and it's medium dark. So there's a lot of violence in this one, but not so much like the sexual violence side of things. So this book is coming out, I'm checking my notes here, on October 27th. And if you want to get a text message when the book comes out, I usually, like the day the book comes out in the evening, send a text out. You can sign up at bit.ly/text Jamila, and it will ask you like your name and your phone number, and then you're going to get like some free books just for signing up. So I think right now I have like 3 free books that you get whenever you sign up. So I think that'll work for a lot of people. You sign up, you get notified, and then you get some freebies for the pain of receiving a notification. Now I'm going to get to quickly the questions that I asked in my story. So if you have been waiting for that, you have been waiting a while. Thank you. I am going to pause and take a sip of coffee. All right, so the main question that I got, and I think I got 3 questions along the same veins, will there be more paranormal romance, vampire bwwm, other paranormal romance? And I could say with almost absolute certainty, no. That is not going to be coming in the near future. It's not going to be coming next year. It's not going to be coming this year. It's very unlikely that I'm going to be writing any paranormal romance in the next 365 days. If this is disappointing to you, I understand, but paranormal romance isn't exactly my wheelhouse. My paranormal titles aren't very successful. People don't really like them that much, and people seem to prefer my dark mafia romance stories. And so I'm going to, I already have them all scheduled out. So for the most part, no, paranormal romance is not going to happen in the next year. Will I never write paranormal romance ever again? No, that's not the case. I may write one in the future, but I would have to see some like realistic widespread interest. I do appreciate people messaging me and like telling me that they want something, and I obviously want to be able to please people, but I can't please everyone, and I think it's more productive to try to please the majority. So while I appreciate the minority voice, and I might consider in 2024 and beyond doing novellas or a serial that's paranormal, I currently have no plans to do so. So that is the unfortunate truth. I hate to say things that could let people down. I'm like, I wish I could give you like a little flower and say I'm so sorry, but that's not going to be happening soon. Again, it's not a no forever, but not for next year. But I'll still be here in 2 years. I'll still be here in 5 years. So don't give up on me quite yet. So this is almost the end of the video here. I want to just quickly go over 2 reminders that I wanted to leave anyone who is watching this, which is 1, I posted a new blog post yesterday. It is a free chapter of The Dirty Contract. So if you're into that Friends to Lovers book that I've been talking about, and you've seen the quotes on Amazon, you can pre-order the book now, and that's all. The link is in my bio, or you can search The Dirty Contract, Jamila Jasper. It's an Amazon exclusive release, 34,000 words. I just kind of will be putting more finishing touches on it today, so it should be really exciting for you to read, and something to kind of hold you over until the next mafia romance starts. So the other reminder was to pre-order the next mafia romance series. I think you will like it. If you liked the other series, the Greek one and the Amalfi Coast one, I think you will like this one. I want to say that this one, I try to make all my series my best yet. So I think that the ideas, what I see kind of coming out for the series, I'm really looking forward to. So consider pre-ordering if you're watching this and interested in my mafia stories. So here's just a basic summary of what we went over in this video. Current updates on what I've been working on. The series that I just put out, which again, Forced to Surrogate, Forced to Marry, Forced to Submit. I have talked about my upcoming Dark Mafia romance release, and I answered the burning questions about paranormal romance, which I wish I could give you a different answer, but this is just currently what I'm working with at this point in time. So that was it. I also gave some reminders, which hopefully were helpful to you. And I want to ask as a final thing in this video, if you have any questions for my next videos, if you have any comments that you want to see addressed or anything like that, feel free to put it in the comments of the video that's posted, whether or not it's live. I will be looking through and talking about these things tomorrow when I get here for the next chapter drop. Again, this week, I'm only doing these live streams at 6 a.m. to spread awareness of my Patreon chapters and the serial that I put out Monday through Friday. So if you're here, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Check out everything I mentioned in this video if you're interested, and stay tuned tomorrow at 6 a.m. for me to talk about something else, a fun new topic, as well as answering questions and waiting for the next serial chapter to come out, and we'll talk about that too. So have a great day. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Bye, Caressa lady. Thank you for stopping in today. Bye.
She be calling on a Monday, wanna meet on Tuesday, asking me to fix me up real nice. She can wait until the weekend, she wants off the deep end, telling me to bring the stuff I like. I don't wanna let her down, so